What? Just because I can do the door gag again doesn't mean I can do it 2 times in a custom video. Well, hit the title.
Hello everyone, welcome back. I know it's been a hot minute. Life has gotten me busy at times, but whenever I have that spare time, I use it wisely. And I use that time to make our favorite pannier / fan favorite Great Western engine himself, Duck. Let's get right into it. After the amazing success of my last video, thank you very much, I was pretty bummed out on who to make next. Given off the fact that I have very little resources at the time. However, a seller company at Amazon was selling a knockoff wooden railway item pack. Now, I know that knockoff Thomas toys have become somewhat yucky and disgusting to look at, and they stare at your soul, but they're actually pretty good. For one, they're not official. Therefore, I did not have to worry about ruining an official Thomas toy. And for another, they're pretty easy to take apart. And so, I bought it and went straight to work cutting the parts that I needed and also what I wanted to use. The materials I use are wooden slabs for the footplate, milliput, and superglue for the 2 pieces to connect as seen here. As you can see, the milliput is used for making the dimensions much more cleaner and much more straight. I even glued the chassis together. However, the chassis was a bit wobbly per se, but I'll save that part for later. For the cab, I used Jenga blocks, and for the pannier tanks, I used wooden slabs that I cut down to the right dimensions and also a wooden dowel for the boiler. For the majority of the cab, I used milliput, which was a hassle to put together. Now for the main body, I used lollipop sticks to rise it up the boiler a bit. Then I glued the side tanks together to the wooden dowel. The milliput had to be glued because it wouldn't stick well if I just leave it that. The milliput had to be glued, otherwise it'll be pretty messed up the next time I come back to my desk. I went back to his cab just to give him his bunker. As you can see, there were many gaps and edges, so I used wood filler to fill up those imperfections. Next step was sanding, by far the most tedious part of it all. While we're on the subject of sanding, can I just say that the cab roof was the most difficult part of it all? It was so frustrating for me, but at least I was able to get to a state where I was fine with. For the next few stages, I used milliput, wood filler, and superglue to smooth out the edges and fill out any gaps or any spots that need to be smooth. Also, here's a quick tip. Use superglue while using milliput because the superglue will make the milliput smooth when you're applying it on certain areas. So that way, you can have a nice silk surface. Alright, enough screwing up. Now I added the wheel arches, the funnel, the dome, the safety valve, whistle, coal, water, caps, and the step ladders on Duck's tanks. Phew! Now, it was time for the white primer coat, and man, it just looks so good. There were a few areas that need to be sanded, so I had to do it again, but hey, it looks twice as good. Now we're heading on to the painting stage. Now, when it comes to painting, I want to make sure I had the right paint for the job. I did make a poll for you guys to suggest which one I should choose. You all choose green, but the paint fade out whenever I touch it and rub it. So I choose a different shade of green, and for a while it was good, but I did not like it, so I changed it to GWR green, which is the same green that I use for Oliver in fact. Right after doing 6 layers, I went ahead and used titanium masking tape, and man, it's so good. The masking around the funnel really sells it for me. And while we're here, I might as well mention the compromise I had to do for the small box front, because the way I did it was not circular as the real life thing, but I had to do it because of the step ladders were between duck's front, or whatever you want to call it. After that, I went ahead and painted some of the spots black, the buffer beam red, and the safety valve gold, including the whistle. Next, I give duck's GWR by using a pencil to mark down where I want the letters to be. However, I changed it to give them spacing so that way it looked at least somewhat decent. Then I removed the masking tape from both of the beans. Wait, beans? I meant sides! Damn it! Alright, I'm back. Let's get this done. Duck was starting to take shape now, and man, I made good progress. Now for the next part, I had to explain. I paint the undercarriage gap thing with gray. Now if you remember from my Thomas video, you would know that I did not give the black underlining as shown by Learning Curve's engines. The reason why I did this was because I felt that they were too toy-like, and I wanted to give them a good look. So I had to paint the undercarriage gap thing. But the end product will look good though, trust me. Which is right now. Wait, something's missing. Oh yeah! How could I forget the face? I used Milliput to sculpt the face and paint the face gray, and also use a Posca paint marker for the eyes and mouth. And I give both the model and the face a glossy coat spray. On a side note, or footnote, I went outside to film Duck, but the clay that I was using for the eye position melted during the sun. Now here's a tip. Don't use clay. It melts under the sun when it happens. So I really recommend using oven clay, which does not melt and can only dry, which is fine. And finally, after many trials and errors, he was done. Now, he isn't perfect. He's still missing his handrails. The reason why I did not add that was because I feel like it could ruin the GWR lettering. However, it's an easy fix I can solve down the road. And also that one red spot right next to the coupling. Although, I did add his number plate on this side, which looks cool. But the one thing that makes him different out of the many customs I own is that he's taller than my other customs I have done, as seen with this custom diesel and my custom pug. But I don't mind that too often. But the one thing I do love about him is that he actually waddles like an actual duck. I mean, how cool was that? Hence his name for being Duck. I found this a nice feature that I was not quite expecting, but I love it. And with that, that wraps up this whole scratch build custom. And thank you for your support, even if I've been gone for a while. The wicked comments that I received were so meaningful to me. I hope you can stick around with me more, cause I got plenty of more scratch build customs along the way. But until then, I'll see you all later.